The biggest college basketball card every week is, of course, on Saturday, and this weekend is no exception. In fact, we have a huge top 25 lineup. Well, let's say top 30 lineup. We have 3 true top 25 matchups, and then 3 bonus games, which involve top 30 teams. I'm going to give you the 6 biggest college basketball games for this Saturday, all on national TV. Free plays and analysis coming up right now. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV with your weekly Saturday Top 25 report. And as I mentioned, I'm digging a little bit deeper this weekend because there are 3 games that just missed the cut. So I'm going to give you the 3 top 25s and then 3 bonus games here, 6 games in all. Let's start with the true top 25 matchups. And first one goes at 3:30 Eastern Saturday afternoon on the SEC network. And that's number 10, Texas A&M, traveling to number 15, Missouri. I'm using the early lines on Friday evening. Now, a handful of sportsbooks have early advance numbers up on Friday night. Wanted to get this video to you as soon as possible as I'm doing my handicapping for Saturday as well. And right now, Missouri is about a 2.5-point home favorite. Short number here. Should be a focus spot for the Tigers coming off the loss to Tennessee last Wednesday, or this past Wednesday rather. Started the season 17-4. They're now a solid 17-5, 6-3 in the SEC. And keep in mind, they have battle tested. This is their 5th straight game against a team I would rank in my top 25. 5th straight. They played Texas, Mississippi State, and Tennessee, and now they're playing Texas A&M. A&M also 6-3 straight up in conference, coming off back-to-back wins against Oklahoma and South Carolina, but neither of those teams even rank in my top 35. So this is a step up in class for A&M. Meanwhile, it's a remaining class step for Missouri, who's been playing tough opponents week in and week out. And it's a focus spot as they're coming off one of their worst defensive showings of the season. In fact, the defensive efficiency rating against Tennessee on Wednesday was the worst of the season. So this is a good focus bounce-back spot for a Class A team on a strong home court. I think Missouri minus the 2.5 is worth a look. Another thing I like about this matchup is that Missouri is a very good three-point shooting team. Hit 38% from 3 this year. They take a high percentage of their shots. Almost 43% of their field goal attempts come from 3. And Texas A&M gives up almost as many threes as any team in the country. Almost half of their opponents' shots this year have come from three-point range. That's bottom 10 in the entire nation out of 364 teams. Both teams also get a lot of points from the free throw line. That benefits the home team normally. So a favorable three-point matchup and also home court. Take a look at Missouri minus the 2.5. That goes at 3:30 Eastern Saturday afternoon on SEC Network. Another SEC battle in the top 25 this week goes right afterwards at 4 o'clock Eastern. This game is on ESPN2 national TV. Number 6, Florida at number 1, Auburn. And by the way, not a shock that we're having a lot of SEC teams in this video in weeks to come. 4 of the top 6 teams in the country right now are in the SEC, and 5 of the top 10 are in the Southeast Conference. So they really are the power conference this year. And this is number 6, Florida against number 1, Auburn. 2 top 6 teams, the best matchup of the week. Now, let's check the injury report, though, because Florida is a bit banged up heading into this game, and that is something to keep an eye on as we get closer to Saturday. By the way, early line right now on Friday night has Auburn about a 9-point favorite, total around 155.5. Most important player for Florida is Walter Clayton Jr. He has been upgraded to available, so he is expected to go. Whether he's fully healthy is another story. But their third best player in my ratings, Elijah Martin, is questionable with the leg injury. So once again, 2 of their top 3 guys are not 100%. Hard to fade Auburn, the best team in college basketball at home. So once again, if you're going to play it, I would lay it. But once again, the line is pretty much where I thought it should be based on current form. Florida got blown out by Tennessee last Saturday. We gave you a free play here on Tennessee in this video, and I also had a strong client best bet at WagerTalk.com on the Volunteers. But that was more of a good spot for Tennessee off back-to-back losses and with 30-point revenge. And Florida did not play well in the second half of that game, but they did bounce back with a solid 11-point home win against Vanderbilt, but failed to cover. That line was 10, 12, dropped down to 10 with the injury information. They won by exactly 11. So once again, Florida not in the best of current form here, so I would lean towards Auburn minus the 8.5 to minus 9. Also think the over 155.5 is probably the way to play the total in this one. Both teams like up-tempo. In fact, Florida, one of the faster-paced teams in the SEC this year. And while Auburn not quite as fast as they've been in years past, good defensive team, they still like to get up and down when they can, and that was evident, obviously, with the 98-point score against Oklahoma. In fact, I gave you a free play on that Oklahoma and Auburn over on Tuesday, a free play video here right on the channel. By the way, if you're liking these free play videos, click subscribe and click the bell for an instant alert so you never miss out. Thumbs up, like, and comment below. 98 points by Auburn in the last game, 92 the game before that. So Auburn in the over would be my lean in this game, but we do have some uncertainty with the Florida rotation as two of their top 3 players are banged up entering this game on Saturday afternoon. Late game finishes out the top 25 action, the true top 25 action for Saturday night. And this one's at 10:30 Eastern on national TV once again as well. Going to take a break from the SEC here and go to the Big 12 with Texas Tech and Arizona. Number 13 Texas Tech at number 20 Arizona, 10:30 Eastern on ESPN Saturday night. And both these teams actually are much higher rated in the net ratings. I think they're a bit underranked here, especially Arizona at 20th, a very dangerous squad. And the reason Arizona is not ranked higher is because they got off to a slow start this season. In fact, if you recall, mid-December they were just 4-5 straight up, including after a 2-0 start. They dropped 5 out of 7 games in mid-November through mid-December, but they have turned things on since, going a quiet 12-1 straight up over the past month and a half, including 10-1 in conference play. Guess what the only loss has been over the past month and a half? Well, you guessed it, Texas Tech. A couple weeks ago, back on January 18th, a few Saturdays ago, 3 weeks ago to be exact, they dropped that game by 16 on the road, but it was the worst offensive showing of the season for the Arizona Wildcats, and they're 3 for 18 from three-point range, had a big part in that loss. I look for much better performance at home in this rematch. Whenever we get a Class A team with revenge on a strong home court, it always makes my short list. And the early line is currently Arizona minus 2.5 as of Friday night, so a very reasonable number here. Also like the matchup. Arizona gives up a lot of shots from three-point range this year. That's been one of their weaknesses on defense. And yes, Texas Tech has a good three-point shooting team, but they don't take a ton of shots from three. And on the road, I don't think they'll shoot quite as well. Also, we have fast Arizona against slower half-court Texas Tech. In general, I think the home team does a better job of dictating the tempo. That frustrated Arizona in the first game a month ago. I think it'll work to their advantage here on their strong home court. Arizona Wildcats, good home revenge spot, and I like the matchup as well. Take a look at the Arizona Wildcats minus the 2.5. That, once again, is your late game at 10:30 Eastern Saturday night on ESPN. By the way, if you're wondering what I'm using for the live odds, injury updates, and by the way, Texas Tech, Toppin, their third best player overall, is questionable, so keep an eye on that injury also in that Arizona-Texas Tech game. Forgot to mention that. But if you're wondering what I use for the real-time injury updates, live odds, scores, these opening lines of the major sports books, I use OddsLogic.com. And if you'd like to try a 7-day free trial, go to OddsLogic.com/SM for Steve Merril, OddsLogic.com/SM for a free 7-day trial. Same premium live odds, injury, and score updates that the sports books use behind the counter. You can try it for free for 7 days. OddsLogic.com/SM. Special offer for all the viewers here. Don't forget, once again, if you're liking these free play videos, comment below. I do truly read the comments and I reply back. Also, thumbs up, like. The more likes, the more comments, the more free play videos I do every day. And when you click subscribe and click that bell for an instant alert, you will know when they are posted for free every day, including my Super Bowl Fade the Public video this weekend for the big game. I'll have more information on the Super Bowl, also an all sports special here at the end of the video. But let's look on the way out. 3 bonus games for you. I just gave you the three true top 25 head-to-head matchups this week on Saturday, February the 8th. Well, you know I always dig a little bit deeper for you. There are 3 more games that just missed the cut, just a bit outside, in which we have top 30 teams playing each other. And in fact, in all cases, we have a highly ranked top 11 team against a non-ranked just the outside in the 20s, late 20s, low 30s, which means if the lower seeded team can pull the upset, they very well might be ranked next week. I'm using the additional votes, by the way, in the AP poll here. Let's start at 12 noon Eastern on Fox. We have number 30 Oregon against number 9 Michigan State. And Oregon's a team that's played their way out of the top 25 with 4 straight losses, but they're still 16-7 on the season. Yes, they were 16-3 just a couple weeks ago. They're now 16-7. And this is a team that's no longer ranked top 25, but they are ranked top 30 right now based on the additional votes. And look, Oregon's been a real kryptonite for me here in recent weeks. I had back-to-back misses with them last week against UCLA and Nebraska. We even gave a free play video last Sunday night here on that game, and I mentioned how I thought it was a great bounce-back spot for Oregon off, at the time, back-to-back losses on their strong home court, whereas Nebraska had done what Oregon had done. They played well, lost 4 or 5 straight, and then all of a sudden now Nebraska's been winning games. So is Oregon really struggling, or is maybe UCLA and Nebraska getting better? Because both teams have played well here in recent weeks. Well, they played better against Michigan on the road this past Wednesday, an 80-76 loss. But nonetheless, Oregon has now lost 4 straight games, and this is a difficult scheduling spot for a few reasons. First of all, it's a noon Eastern tip-off, as I mentioned. That means it's 9 a.m. Pacific time for Oregon. Even though they've been on the East Coast, they've been to Michigan here for about a week, it's still a weird start time at 9 a.m. in the morning. I think that favors Michigan State, at least early in the game. Also, Michigan State coming off back-to-back losses. This is a team that had gone 13 straight wins in a row, and now they've lost back-to-back games to USC and, UCLA. I just mentioned them in a moment. So a common opponent there. Michigan State's loss to UCLA, a little more impressive, though they only lost by 2 points on the road this past Tuesday. And despite shooting just 5 for 22 from three-point range, they still only lost by 2 away. I would lean on Michigan State here. I do think the line's a little inflated. 7.5 is the early number as of Friday night. So I do think they've priced in the recent failures of Oregon. But once again, they've been a real bipolar team, a real kryptonite for me over the past couple weeks. So I'm going to stay very neutral in this game. I think Michigan State minus 7.5 is probably the safer play, especially maybe a first half play if Oregon's a little sleepy with the early 9 a.m. Pacific start. Other thing I'll point out is that Michigan State gets a lot of their points down low from 2-point range. They take some of the fewest percentage of 3-point shots in the nation. They're also one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the country. Oregon's strength defensively this year is 3-point defense, 64th overall. They're only 151st in 2-point defense. So once again, I think it's a favorable matchup also for Michigan State for the reasons I just mentioned. And once again, that's an early game on Fox National TV at noon Eastern on Saturday. Another game that's just on the outside of the top 25 matchups, and that's number 11 Marquette traveling to number 29 Creighton at 2 o'clock Eastern. This also on Fox, the very next game on their doubleheader. And one angle, Brian Power, my colleague at WagerTalk.com, has talked about this a lot the last few years, is that these unranked home favorites against ranked opponents has done quite well. And once again, Creighton technically not a top 25 team. They're fourth in additional votes, so they're 29th right now in the AP poll. But they are currently, as of Friday night at least, a 1.5-point home favorite against Marquette, who enters off back-to-back losses. Marquette lost to Connecticut as a 6.5-point favorite last Saturday, and then lost to St. John's this past Tuesday on the road. So two tough opponents, and I think Creighton's another one. But Creighton still has a very strong home court. Just one loss this season came way back in November against Nebraska. Remember, I had mentioned how bipolar Nebraska's been this year. They were playing well earlier this year. And Creighton's won every home game since, and they do have revenge. In fact, Creighton started the conference season 0-1. They've gone 10-1 since. Their only loss was back in early January at Marquette by 8 points. So this is a strong home court revenge spot, and we also get that unranked home team angle against a ranked opponent. Now, I wish Marquette wasn't off back-to-back losses, because that does give you a little bit of pause for concern. It should be a very focused spot for Marquette. And also, Marquette does a very good job taking care of the ball. Creighton does not force turnovers, so it's almost certain that Marquette's going to have the turnover edge. And they also force a lot of turnovers. Creighton, not a great ball-handling team. But the situational setup is too good to overlook, so I would lean towards Creighton minus 1.5 at home with revenge, and that unranked angle continues to work. Total could be worth a look to the under, though, under 144.5. And the reason I say that is neither team gets many points from the free throw line. In fact, they both rank bottom 300 in the country this year from percentage of points from the free throw line. So that means the clock won't stop for a lot of garbage points. And I think that's a sneaky little under indicator that gets overlooked a lot of times. Also, both defensive efficiency matchups favor the defenses versus the opposing offense. So I think the defenses hold the edge. Neither team gets a lot of points from the free throw line. Now, both teams rely heavily on the three-point shot. So a lot of random variance here. If they're hitting the threes, we're in trouble. But if not, if the three-point defenses show up, and by the way, these are two of the better three-point defenders in the conference, I think the under 144.5 might be the best way to play this game on Saturday afternoon. Once again, a little bit of a sneaky underplay here in this rematch between two teams that are playing pretty good basketball overall this year, although Creighton may be in a little bit of better current form at this moment. The final game on the edit card here for our top 30 video this week goes at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN. It's the only ACC matchup this week we're talking about. That's number 2 Duke against number 26 Clemson. Clemson actually is ranked 21st in the coaches poll this week, and they're the first team out of the top 25 in the AP. They're the 26th team, the most additional votes. So this one definitely just missed the cut. And it's an interesting matchup because Duke is the only team right now in the ACC that's ranked top 25. How far has the mighty fallen? This conference really down this year. We've seen the writing on the wall. The last couple seasons, it's basically been Duke, UNC, and Virginia. Tony Bennett resigns about a week before the season starts in October, early November. And that was kind of the writing on the wall for this conference this season. Larry Naga steps down from Miami of Florida midway through the year. And Duke is the only team right now that's ranked top 25. Clemson's currently 26. If they pull the upset here, they will be ranked probably next week. Not likely to happen as Duke is currently a 7.5-point favorite. Total's around 134.5. Let's look at the total here for a free play. I think the under 134.5 is probably the best option. If Clemson is hitting their three-point shots, yes, they can pull the upset, but you do have to worry about fatigue here because they just played on Tuesday and lost to Georgia Tech at home, but that was a 3-overtime loss. Boy, those things can linger, and often they do, so you do have to worry about that a bit. They should be psyched for Duke, but the tired legs could hurt the three-point shooting a little bit, so I think that favors the under. And these are two of the slower teams in the conference. In fact, Clemson's one of the 25 slowest teams in the nation this year, currently ranking around 340 for tempo. Duke, though, does not play fast like they did under Krzyzewski years ago. They're in the bottom third in tempo also this season, one of the slower ACC teams. So two half-court slowdown teams favors the under. Also, Clemson relies heavily on the three. They're very one-dimensional. And Duke is a great team. In fact, they're the only team to beat Auburn this year. They are a powerhouse squad. And they have the best two-point percentage defense in the country, allowing less than 42% from two-point range, which means Clemson's going to have to live and die by the three. If they're hitting the threes, they could pull the upset. Over might come into play, but otherwise, I think Clemson is going to struggle to score down low, so I would favor the under here, and especially in a slow half-court game. And also, Clemson gets no points from the free throw line this year, and Duke doesn't put opponents on the free throw line. So I think it's going to be a difficult offensive game in the interior for Clemson, and I would lean towards the under in this one, under the current line of 134.5, which is the Friday night line. Once again, I'm using the Friday night numbers because I wanted to get this video up nice and early for you on Friday evening heading into the weekend. I'm still finalizing my college basketball best bets. You can check them all out right now on my page at WagerTalk.com, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out the Super Bowl to Super Bowl special. It starts this Sunday, and it gets you every best bet I release from this Super Bowl 59 through next year's Super Bowl 60. That's exactly 365 days and nights of all sports, college and pro football, basketball, and baseball. Every best bet that I personally release for the next year. And if you sign up this week and you get Saturday, this big Saturday, included for free. So once again, don't wait till Sunday. Sign up right now on Saturday and get the entire one-year special plus this bonus day, which is a huge card in college basketball. I love the college basketball card this Saturday. Several best bets for my clients. You can get them right now at WagerTalk.com. And don't forget, with this All Sports subscription, not only are you getting Saturday included for free, but you're also getting an instant $800 discount off the normal rate. That gets it down to $23 a week, $3 a day, about $1 a play for every best bet I release in football, basketball, and baseball for the next 365 plus days and nights. Last year, my clients more than doubled their bankroll. We won 133 units in 2024, and I'm looking to do it again here in 2025. If you're ready to take a true investment approach to sports betting, set it and forget it. It takes you about 3 to 4 minutes a day to get the plays. You can either log in to WagerTalk.com or you can have them emailed directly to you, and then you put the plays in. Literally less than 5 to 10 minutes a day. It is a true long-term investment, and the cost of entry is never lower when you get it down to $1 a play with the Super Bowl to Super Bowl special. No promo code needed. Check it out on my page right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Don't forget also, I post a free play every day. I'm very selective, maybe 2 to 3 best bets on average throughout the year per day, which means that last cut is still a strong opinion, and I post it for free for everybody on my page. Bonus free play every day with analysis at WagerTalk.com. And on the way out, don't forget, subscribe, click that bell for an instant alert so you know when my Super Bowl Fade the Public video is ready this weekend, and also the daily free college and pro basketball videos throughout the week are posted here. Click subscribe, click the bell for an instant alert. Also, comment below. I do truly read the comments. What are your thoughts on these top 25 / top 30 matchups this weekend? And if you're finding these videos useful, thumbs up, like, and comment below, because the more thumbs up, likes, the more comments, the more free play videos I will do each and every day of the week right here on the channel. Don't forget you can follow me on social media as well at Steve Merril. 2 R's, 1 L. You know the deal. 2 R's, 1 L at Steve Merril on X and Instagram. And stay tuned because right here on WagerTalk TV there are plenty more free play videos coming up next.